Okay, you are back here again with the Diabetic Dad. It is Super Bowl Sunday. The Browns, they aren't even close to sniffing the playoffs anytime soon. Just, see Myles Garrett for that one. But what we're going to be making here today is going to be a dip that if you wanted to, you could take to a Super Bowl party. You might get some looks, right? Somebody might say something, a comment or two. I think there was a commercial about it not too long ago. But what we're making today is coming to us from a new one. It's a new one, Betty Crocker's Diabetes Cookbook. Great tasting, easy recipes for every day. This one's written by Dr. Richard Bergenstal and Diane Reeder. Diane Reeder is a registered dietitian and a certified diabetes educator. Look out, Lori, you've got some competition here. Shout out to my mother-in-law, Linda, for getting me this book for Christmas. Great Christmas gifts from the in-laws always. This year in particular, 2 records for record player and this Diabetes Cookbook. The records were the best of Simon and Garfunkel and the best of the Eagles. So I don't know what's better, the cookbook or the records. Probably a toss-up. Phenomenal either way. And so what we're making today, though, is going to be some smoky spinach hummus. Smoky spinach hummus, Super Bowl Sunday. Gonna cut up some carrots, make some carrot sticks. Gonna cut up some cucumbers, make some cucumber sticks. We've got some pita here. Again, I told you, you're gonna get some looks. There will probably be a comment or two made, but this is a healthy dip. This is a healthy alternative to the buffalo chicken dip, which frankly, if I had in front of me, I would be eating. Certainly healthier than a spinach artichoke dip, but again, if I had one of those in front of me, I would be eating it. A lot better than the little pretzel nubs that you dip in the cheese. Again, if I had those in front of me, I probably wouldn't be eating those this year, but it would take everything in me not to. So this should be a pretty easy one. We're using one of our good friends over here, the food processor once more. Basically, we just got to combine all the ingredients, put them in the food processor, and we're going to be done. Relatively easy from what I can tell. Hummus, one of those things that I find anyway, it's nice to make once so you kind of know what you're doing, be one with your food, all the rest. But, you can go to the store, you can find any number of brands of hummus. They're all relatively good from, the nutritional information perspective is concerned, especially if you're just getting like a red pepper one or maybe more of a kind of a plain one. Similar to baba ganoush, even the mahamar that we made, if you could find that in a store, it would probably take a lot less time to just get that in a store than what we're doing here. I've never made a hummus before. I'm excited to try this. I have made baba ganoush before. It takes a while. I have made that mahamara. It takes a while. I don't think this is going to take as long. Maybe I'm going to fall in love with it. Who knows? Smoky, spinach, a little bit different than what I'm used to. But basically what we've got here is a little bit of juice from a lemon. We've got some tahini, which is a sauce. It's a paste that's made up from ground sesame seeds. We've got the star of the show here, the chickpeas, the garbanzo beans. We've got some spinach that we're going to chop up nice and thin. We've got a little bit of salt. We've got a red bell pepper that we're going to put on top for some garnish. We've got some cumin. We've got some smoked paprika, and that's about it. So again, we're just going to measure everything out, get it all into the food processor, pulse it a couple times. It's probably going to take longer to cut up the vegetables, frankly, and then we'll be eating. And so I guess if I had to make a prediction today, if I had to be cheering for a team, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles for a couple reasons. The Chiefs have won a lot lately. I'm kind of getting tired of the Chiefs, frankly. I don't know. Of the two Kelseys, the one that used to be on the Eagles is a little bit more relatable to me anyway, in my opinion. Both Cleveland guys, can't go wrong there. Cleveland guy dating Taylor Swift, gotta love that. And Saquon Barkley, right? Penn State guy, living in Pennsylvania now. Philadelphia's on the other side of the state. All the indicators are pointing to the Eagles today for me. Should be a good game. I'm gonna be eating some hummus. Okay, so right off the bat, we're just opening up this can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. It does say to drain them, but to reserve the liquids. So I'm going to drain them over this pot here. And that'll allow for us to keep some of the liquid in there because we are going to need it later to make it a little bit smoother, a little bit runnier. Now, chickpeas are one of those beans, legumes, vegetables, whatever they are, that if they're raw, you certainly want to cook them ahead of time to make sure that they are basically, there's some toxins in there that if you don't cook them, they can basically cause you to throw up and have some bathroom issues. These canned ones typically are already pre-cooked, but in doing some prep for this particular episode, I did learn that maybe to make the hummus a little bit smoother, a little bit creamier, it might not hurt throw these on the stovetop for a few minutes just to kind of warm them up, soften them up a little bit. So I'm going to do that. The recipe does not call for it here in Betty Crocker's cookbook, which Betty Crocker, you'd think, it's like a cake company. What do they know about diabetes? And I guess they know a lot because they've got a whole cookbook. But as far as what we're going to do with these garbanzo beans, we're just going to warm them up briefly on the stovetop, but I am going to save the liquid that came in the can because the recipe calls for that. So just a little bit of water, medium, high heat, and we'll give that, maybe 5 minutes or so to go. Okay, 1 cup of the chopped fresh spinach leaves, as fresh as you can get in Pittsburgh in February. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of sesame tahini. Okay, so if you've never used tahini before, it's kind of a funny consistency. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a new jar of peanut butter when you open it, right? There's gonna be like this oily consistency on the top, but if you spin around a little bit, you'll feel that it's a lot more thick, kind of in the middle and toward the bottom. So I always like to just kind of stir this up a little bit before we get to using it, so that I'm not just getting the oily kind of top component, but that I'm getting the full-bodied experience of, you know, everything that we need here. Tahini is going to be a common staple in any sort of a hummus, any sort of a baba ganoush. A couple of the recipes that I've come across, especially in fiber field, calls for tahini. It's a nice savory flavor. All right, so there we kind of see the consistency that we're going to be working with here. A little bit runnier version of like a peanut butter. Again, we're just going to get 2 tablespoons of this, which I'm going to put in with the lemon juice that I just squeezed, so it's got somewhere to live before I'm ready to put it into the food processor with everything else. I just don't want it to stick in the bottom of the food processor, but going in here with this lemon juice should be pretty safe. Just kind of keep it all combined in one place where it'll be easy, ready to go once we're all ready to combine everything. All right, so everything else is basically going to go in here. All right, so in the food processor, it says to place the chickpeas. Our chickpeas just got warmed up on the stovetop, so they're a little bit steamy, but they're going to be nice and soft. A 1/4 cup of that reserved liquid that we were talking about from earlier. So I'm just going to measure that out right now. Here's a 1/4 cup of the chickpea juice. I'd say it's about maybe a third-ish of the total amount of liquid that had been in the can in the first place, which is why you don't want all of it. Next, we need the spinach. So here comes a cup's worth of chopped spinach, quite a bit actually. And then the lemon juice and the tahini paste, which you may recall we combined into one device here. There you go. The paprika, the cumin, and the salt. Now, the recipe calls for smoked Spanish paprika. I couldn't find any smoked Spanish paprika, but I did find some smoked paprika, so I hope it's okay. But we're gonna need 2 teaspoons of this, and then 1 teaspoon of the ground cumin, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna try and get that tahini off the top there. Okay, it says to cover, process for 30 seconds. Using quick on and off motions, scrape the side. After that, we're gonna add the additional reserved bean liquid, 1 tablespoon at a time. Cover it, process it, using the quick on and off motions until it's smooth and the desired dipping consistency. Garnish it with the bell pepper and serve with your cut up vegetables. So it's gonna be pretty quick. Again, should be done in just a minute here. Okay, so we're just gonna pulse it a couple times. All right, you can see that the paprika there really seems to be kind of sticking at the top, so I'm just going to spatula this down a little bit. It smells pretty good. It's looking a little bit thicker and chunkier than I think you'd typically expect your hummus to look. That means we've still got a ways to go on our processing. We're going to be adding a little bit more of these liquids in here in just a moment. So I guess the key here based on the recipe is it says to process using quick on and off motions. So I assume what that means is pulsing it instead of just turning it on. These food processors have a low, high, and a pulse setting. And so we're not just having it run consistently. We're just doing these quick on and off motions because that's what the recipe calls for. So here's kind of what we're looking at right now. It doesn't look terrible. It looks like, you know, a chunkier version of a hummus that you're probably used to. So I am going to add a little bit more of that liquid in here now, about a tablespoon's worth or so. And so if it seems like we need to add more or less, well, I guess we can't really take it away. So you always want to do maybe a little bit less than you think you might ultimately need. Better to err on the side of caution here. It does say to add the remaining amount of the liquid from the can. And we do have probably another, I don't know, 1/2 cup's worth or so. It does smell nice and smoky, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this tastes. All right, so that's kind of what we're working with right now. I feel like that's maybe a good level of consistency here for this hummus. So I'm gonna grab a little baby carrot, give her a dip, see how it tastes. Actually, we're just gonna use a little bit of the red pepper that we're gonna be cutting up anyway for the garnish. So here it goes. Oh, that's good. Nice smoky flavor, nice rich, full texture of the garbanzo bean, the chickpea. Definitely tell where this is coming from. You know, that hearty chickpea taste, texture, maybe a little bit more so than what you'll buy in a store. So from that perspective, it's great. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add just a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes in here. I think that's gonna put it over the edge. This is a delicious, smoky, nice tasting hummus. This didn't take that long to make. I'm probably gonna make this again, bring it into the routine. Tastes delicious, has a lot of nutrients that we know where they're coming from, right? The spinach is there, the garbanzo beans are pretty fresh, the lemon juice is pretty fresh. It's, you know, certainly easier to pick up from the store if you just wanna buy it on your own. But again, it's kind of nice to know what your food is, know how it's made, know where everything comes from every now and then. Okay, so quick little taste test here with the addition of the crushed red pepper flakes. Oh yeah. Woo! That's got the extra little bit of heat that you're looking for. Delicious taste with the paprika, the smoked paprika. A little bit of an extra kick with those crushed red pepper flakes. This is gonna be a fan favorite of mine for sure. I think my wife's really gonna love this. The kids, they're not even gonna sniff it, and that's fine. More for us. Go Eagles. All right, here it is, the finished product. But otherwise, all I have to ask is, what's the difference between black-eyed peas and chickpeas? Black-eyed peas can sing us a song. Chickpeas can only hum us one. Till next time.